7 bone-chilling true best friend horror stories that will haunt you forever. The moon hung low in the sky, casting eerie shadows across the small town of Millfield. At the heart of it, a dusty old house stood lonely, swallowed by thick fog. Inside, strange whispers filled the air, as if the walls themselves held secrets begging to be uncovered. What was once a gathering place for friends had become a chilling reminder of betrayal and darkness. And it all began with an unbreakable bond between 2 best friends. Zoe and Mia were inseparable, a true duo that together set the world ablaze with laughter and dreams until one fateful night twisted everything. They left for a weekend camping trip, excited to escape reality. But lurking in the woods was an unsettling silence that pressed on their chests, tightening like a noose. As dusk fell, an unexpected fog rolled in, thicker than anything they had faced before. It wasn't just an environmental change, it felt alive, watching, waiting. And then came the first strange sound, a high-pitched giggle chilling their skin. Was that a sign of their imagination, or was it something far more sinister? In the darkness, a flicker of fear sparked. "Did you hear that?" Zoe whispered, her heart pounding against her ribcage like a frantic drum. Trembling, she scanned the trees, each rustle making her jump. The vibe shifted, tension hanging thick in the air. Mia tried to reassure her, exchanging nervous glances, but deep down, fear was clawing at both their throats. Little did they know, this night would test their loyalty in horrific ways either could foresee. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The fire crackled softly, casting orange flickers over their faces. Suddenly, Mia's phone rang, slicing through the eerie whispers of the night. It was a call from someone they both trusted, someone who had a knack for knowing their every move. "You need to leave, right now," the voice urged, panic oozing through every word. But skepticism took hold. Was it a joke? Or was it a warning about the horrors lurking in the dark? A chill raced down their spines. The phone went dead, leaving an unsettling silence, then a rustling nearby broke the quiet. Both friends exchanged terrified looks, now realizing they weren't as alone as they thought. "What was that?" Zoe stammered, her hands trembling at her sides. They inched closer together, a shield against whatever might come. Shadows danced around them as the fog thickened, and eerie images flickered in the corner of their eyes. The bond that once felt too strong to break began to tremble under this profound darkness. What would happen when fear gripped their hearts? A question loomed, unanswered and heavy in the air. Could true friendship survive the night unseen? The fog swirled like a living thing, and the rustling in the bushes grew louder, shaking the leaves with an urgency that echoed in Zoe's ears. She felt the weight of uncertainty pressing down. "Mia, we should go, we need to get out of here," she urged, her voice barely above a whisper. Mia hesitated. "But what if it's just an animal? Or someone playing a prank? We can't just leave without checking it out." Her adventurous spirit fought against the gnawing dread creeping in. But Zoe could only see the shadows shifting, feel the eerie tendrils of fear wrapping around her heart. They had been friends forever, yet now a rift seemed to crack between them, splintering their shared bravery. Then the phone buzzed again. This time it wasn't a call, but a text message glowing against Mia's pale face. "Get out now! Don't look back!" The screen flashed an unknown number, one they didn't recognize, but the urgency felt glued to every single word. "This isn't right," Zoe whispered, stepping closer to Mia as goosebumps covered her arms. This was more than just a camping trip gone sour. "Mia, we really can't stay. Please." Zoe's plea hung in the air, trembling with desperation. It took one last look at the creeping shadows, and Mia's resolve began to falter. Then, without warning, a loud snap of a branch broke through the tension. Panic surged in Zoe's chest. "Look!" she screamed, pointing. From the depths of the fog emerged a shadow, hulking and dark, shifting like liquid night. It was unexpectedly humanoid, yet the way it moved suggested something far from human. Fear twisted in her stomach, and for a heartbeat, the world paused. Reality held its breath. "Mia! Let us go!" Zoe shrieked, grabbing her friend's arm. Suddenly, the dark figure lunged forward, and Mia stumbled back, wide eyes locked on the approaching horror. With instinct overpowering doubt, Zoe yanked Mia, and they sprinted away, heartbeats thundering in sync with their quickened breaths. The world around them blurred. Trees became mere streaks of blurred shapes reaching out like pleading fingers. They dashed through the maze of the forest, each breath feeling shallower than the last, as if the very air turned thick with dread. Zoe could feel the weight of fear behind them. Every instinct screamed that something pursued them, relentless and unyielding. "Mia, over here!" Zoe called out, slipping behind a massive oak. They crouched low, desperate to blend into the shadows. The shadows enveloped them, but the echoes of their racing hearts remained loud, as if announcing their position to whatever stalked the night. "Mia," Zoe panted, her voice trembling. "What if it's after us? What if we never make it out of here?" Tears blurred her vision. Mia, face pale, stared back, a mix of terror and resolve etched across her features. We'll figure this out. But we need to stay quiet in the suffocating silence." Zoe glanced at Mia, searching for assurance in her friend's eyes. But behind her gaze something shifted. She wasn't sure if it was exhaustion or fear, yet an unsettling thought clawed at her. What if Mia wasn't quite who she thought she was? Suddenly a chill raced through Zoe, resonating with a new kind of dread. As they sat, a feeling of betrayal wrapped around her heart like a vice. Could fear push them further apart instead of closer together? What dark passage was this night leading them down where trust could shatter? They huddled together as an unsettling silence filled the woods once more, punctuated only by distant whispers that slithered through the fog. What awaited them, darkness or discovery? Just then, a scream pierced the night, and it wasn't theirs. Zoe's stomach clenched. "Did you hear that?" she gasped. Yeah, Mia's voice quivered. What had they stumbled into? And who were they truly running from? The branches rustled above them as a figure came into view, cloaked in shadows, mouth twisted into a sinister grin. Just as Zoe's heart sank, the figure pointed directly at them. "You can't run forever." The world dimmed further. Would they face this horror together, or would the night reveal something darker than their worst fears? The figure took a step forward, its movements achingly slow, as if savoring their fear. Zoe's breath itched in her throat, and she felt her heartbeat quickening, a drum echoing in the stillness. "Mia," she whispered, her voice cracking, barely holding the weight of the terror that gripped her. But Mia didn't respond. Instead, she was transfixed, her wide eyes locked onto the shadowy figure. Something flickered in that darkness, a hint of recognition? An unsettling chill slid down Zoe's spine. "Mia, we need to move." Finally snapping out of her trance, Mia shook her head. "No," she said, almost too calmly. I think it knows me." The words hung heavy in the air, and Zoe felt as if the ground might swallow her whole. "What do you mean it knows you?" Panic surged as the shadow loomed ever closer. Zoe's gut twisted. How could this be happening? "I don't know. But I feel like..." Mia paused, her voice shaky. "Like I've seen that face before, in a dream maybe. Or it was at that party last year." The memories slipped from Mia's grasp as she tried to connect the dots. But the fog surrounding them concealed the truth, thickening their descent into despair. Zoe clutched Mia's arm tighter. "We can't stay. Whatever it is, it's dangerous." Without warning, the figure lunged. Zoe yanked Mia, and they bolted again, leaves snapping beneath their feet. They stumbled deeper into the woods, branches clawing at their clothes as if the very trees threatened to trap them. "Where are we going?" Mia shouted over the thundering of their own hearts, her voice laced with panic. "Anywhere but here," Zoe snapped, her chest burning. But even as they went further into the darkness, a haunting thought flickered. What if escaping wasn't possible? Suddenly, A guttural laugh echoed around them, slicing through the night like glass. "Flee if you wish, little girls," a voice called, rich with malice. "You'll only find despair in your search for safety." Zoe's breath caught as they stumbled into an opening. The fog lifted momentarily, revealing a clearing lit by the pale glow of the moon. In its shimmering light, she noticed something strange: a circle of stones, each worn and ancient. "Mia!" Zoe gasped, pulling her towards the stones. "This has to be some kind of marker. We have to wait," Mia interrupted. Her eyes widened, and in the moonlight they glistened with an unusual intensity. "Zoe, look at the stones. They have names carved into them. Old names, like from legends." Zoe stepped closer, her heart racing. She traced the closest stone with her fingers, whispering the name etched into its surface. Alara, with a gasp, Mia stepped back, her body trembling. "That's my grandmother's name." The realization hit Zoe like a punch to the gut. Could this place be more than just a clearing? Was it somehow tied to Mia's own family? Then she heard the muffled sound of footsteps, not far off. It was a thick silence, pregnant with danger, but also with something else: familiarity. Zoe turned sharply to Mia. "What if this is a trap? What if it's luring us in?" Mia shook her head. "I don't know, but we can't just stand here." The footsteps approached, closer now, filling Zoe's chest with ice. Shadows stirred in the corners of her vision, and she turned rapidly, panic surging. "Mia, I can't do this alone." But Mia had already stepped forward, drawn to the stones. "What if it can help us?" she called with an eerie confidence. "What if it needs us?" A flash of heat coursed through the air, and Zoe felt the answer looming just out of reach, like an echo of a long-lost memory. But was the darkness headed their way a friend or a foe? Would stepping into the shadows reveal the terrifying truth, or would it pull them deeper into a nightmare? The only road left lay through the mist ahead and into the unknown. Mia stepped further into the clearing, her eyes locked on the stones as if they held answers to questions neither of them fully understood. Zoe's heart raced. Every instinct screamed for her to pull Mia back, but the other girls seemed entranced, caught in a web of memories pulled from the very earth beneath their feet. "Mia!" Zoe shouted, desperation clawing at her throat. "Don't get too close." But Mia's steps were steady, almost deliberate, as if she were being guided by an invisible force. Each name carved into the stone pulsed with energy, a dark rhythm that resonated with the air around them. "Zoe, listen!" Mia's voice fell to a whisper, awe creeping in. "I can feel something. It's familiar." Suddenly, the laughter from before returned, rolling in like thunder, echoing all around them, growing louder until it filled Zoe's ears. "Yes, sweet Mia," the voice slithered through the trees, dripping with malevolence. "You are closer than ever to the truth." Zoe felt bile rise in her throat. "Mia, we have to get out of here. This isn't safe." "No!" Mia's voice was firm now, a stark contrast to the trembling fear Zoe had expected. "This means something. We can't just run away." Before Zoe could respond, a figure burst into the clearing from the shadows, a silhouette framed by a night full of foreboding. The moonlight carved sharp angles on the man's face, revealing nothing more than a hollow grin and hollow eyes. "What do we have here?" The figure's voice dripped with delight. "To lost souls seeking answers?" Zoe felt her breath hitch as her instincts kicked in. "Mia, come back!" But Mia didn't budge, nor did she seem frightened. "Mia, please!" Zoe clutched at her friend's arm, but it was as if a wall had risen between them. Guilt washed over her. Had she pushed too hard? Was this expression of control somehow connected to this place? "Look at the stones," Mia whispered, her breath warm against the cool night air. "They want us to remember. They want us to know our past." "Your past?" Zoe shot back, alarm sparking in her chest. "What does this mean? What does it have to do with you? We need to leave." But just as Mia was about to answer, a chilling wind swept through the clearing. It wrapped around them, pulling at Zoe's roots and trying to pry her away from Mia. The laughter grew louder, circling them like a predator stalking prey. "Stay or go," the figure grinned, his eyes gleaming with something sinister. But all will be revealed in time. Zoe's heartbeat thundered louder than the laughter. It felt like the world was tilting, and she was afraid of being swallowed whole. "Mia!" she yelled, panic coursing through her. "Mia, please." The shadows thickened, shrouding everything in a dark haze. Zoe fought to catch Mia's gaze amidst the chaos, her mind racing with dread. Was Mia truly lost to this stranger? Did this figure know something about Mia that she didn't? Join us, Mia. Your legacy awaits. The figure beckoned, arms wide, shadows pooling at his feet like a sinister tide. A spark of fear shot through Zoe. "No! Don't listen!" Before she could reach her, the ground beneath them trembled. A deep rumble echoed through the clearing, making it hard to focus. In that moment, Zoe felt the earth shift, as if it were alive, and the names on the stones began to glow. Zoe stumbled back, breath catching as she saw the stones pulsating with an ominous light. The energy was overwhelming, as if the spirits of the past were awakening, waking from a long slumber only to make their presence known. Mia glanced towards Zoe, her expression a mixture of fear and determination. "I need to find out what this means." But as her words hung heavily in the air, Zoe realized the figure was moving closer. This was no mere encounter, it was a confrontation with fate. "Will you stay and uncover your lineage?" the figure hissed. "Or will you choose the path of ignorance?" Zoe could hear the wind whistling like a warning. "Mia, don't!" And as the shadows coiled tighter around them, everything felt poised on a razor's edge. Would they uncover the truth lying within the stones, or would the night swallow them whole? And just as the atmosphere tightened, an echo of a name slipped through the air. Mia, was it a plea? A command? Or something far more sinister? The stars flickered above, and time stood still, leaving them poised at the edge of a terrifying revelation. The air thickened with tension, as if the very fabric of the night held its breath. Mia stood transfixed, her eyes shimmering with a light that felt otherworldly. Zoe, gripped by an icy dread, felt the pull of the shadows like something alive, twisting around her ankles, urging her back even as her heart screamed for Mia to stay. "Mia!" she shouted again, her voice breaking. Each word felt heavy, weighed down by fear. "This isn't you. You need to come back to me." The hollow-eyed figure moved closer, and a wicked smile cracked across his face. "Ah, sweet Zoe," he taunted, voice like silk wrapping around nails. "You still think you can save her? You can't fight destiny." Destiny? Zoe's thoughts spiraled. What destiny lurked in the whispers of these stones? She could feel the dark energy radiating from them, vibrating within her bones, threatening to drown her in its suffocating embrace. She couldn't let Mia be lost to this. "Mia, please!" Zoe reached out, struggling against the mounting chaos, the shadows tightening their hold. "Think about what you're doing. This isn't a game. There's something evil here." But Mia's expression was serene, her features softened by the eerie glow of the stones. "Zoe, I think this is where we came from. I can feel it." "It's almost like what?" Zoe demanded, interrupted by a wave of desperation crashing over her. "Like a trap? Like a curse? You don't know what you're playing with." The shadows seemed to quiver in response, and for a moment, the figure paused, a flicker of curiosity crossing his gaunt features. "She's right, you know. So naive, Zoe. This is more than just a curse or a trap. It's an awakening." Zoe felt a tremor run through her, and the darkness closed in like the jaws of a great beast. "What does that even mean?" she shouted, fists clenched at her sides. "Everything," the figure cooed, his voice reverberating like the rumble of thunder. "This isn't just about Mia's past. This is about her destiny, her legacy. She is the key, and you're just an obstacle." Zoe shook her head violently, ripping her eyes from the figure and forcing her gaze back to Mia. "You can't trust him. Don't you see? He's lying." But Mia merely smiled, an unsettling calm washing over her. "Maybe he's right. Maybe it's time I finally understand. I have to know who I am." In that instant, the ground beneath them erupted in a ferocious upheaval. The stones blazed brighter, illuminating the clearing in ghostly hues as wind shredded through the air, ripping at Zoe's clothes and hair, a tempest of madness. "Mia!" Zoe screamed, reaching out desperately as a crack split through the ground, sending waves of raw energy rippling toward them. "Don't do this!" But the laughter returned, deafening, swirling around them like a malevolent storm. The shadows coalesced, feeding on Mia's curiosity, their voices echoing in her ears. "Join us, dear one. Embrace your truth." A fork in the road lay before them, Mia teetering on one side, discovery and danger beckoning, while Zoe fought against the tempest, desperate to pull her friend back from the brink. "This isn't over!" Zoe screamed, feeling the ground break beneath her feet, caught in the pull of the unknown. As the darkness threatened to engulf them, another name echoed through the chaos, a name Zoe thought she had forgotten but now resonated with startling clarity. Mia, would she seize her fate, or would the shadows claim her forever? Before Zoe could process the terrible weight of possibility, the clearing exploded with light, swallowing them both in a blinding brilliance. And just as Zoe felt herself being pulled into the abyss, she grasped at the last fading sliver of Mia's reality. "Please, remember me," as the world spun away into darkness. A haunting realization sunk in. The truth was closer than she thought. But when the light faded, what truth would they face? Zoe blinked, but the light didn't fade. Instead, it enveloped her, wrapping her in a cocoon of warmth and brightness. All around, sounds transformed into a melodious hum, whispering enticingly at the edges of her consciousness. "Mia?" she called out, the soft echo of her voice swallowed by the glowing expanse. No answer came, just an overwhelming sensation of weightlessness, as if she were floating through a dream. But a sudden jolt pulled her back. Panic clawed at her chest. Where was Mia? The echoes of the shadows persisted, their dark laughter echoing like a haunting memory. Then, as abruptly as it began, the light burst away, scattering like glass shards across the ground. Zoe gasped, those ghostly remnants spiraling down until she found herself once again in the clearing. The dark figure loomed above her, an insidious smile stretched across his hollow face. "Mia!" Zoe shouted, but the words came out tremulous, echoing into the shadows that danced around her. She scanned the clearing, searching for any sign of her friend. Instead, the stones glimmered maliciously, shimmering with a glow that now felt predatory. "Welcome back!" the figure cooed, his voice slithering through the air. "Such a shame you're still just a spectator in this little show." "Where's Mia?" Zoe demanded, her knees nearly buckling under the weight of dread that crashed down upon her. "What did you do to her?" The figure shrugged, a nonchalant gesture that sent a shiver down Zoe's spine. "Nothing that she didn't want. This is her chance to embrace what she truly is. Unfortunately, you do not hold the same privilege." With a flick of his wrist, shadows erupted from the ground, curling like smoke toward her. Zoe felt them creep around her, tightening and pulling. She shook her head, desperate to fight back. "Mia!" Zoe screamed again, but it sounded distant. Was she even truly there? "Mia has answered the call of her ancestors," the figure smirked. "She doesn't need you anymore, sweet Zoe. You were always just a distraction." Zoe's heart pounded, anger mingling with fear. "You lie. She needs me." The figure leaned in, his face inches from hers, his wicked grin held tightly. "But does she want you? She's on the verge of unlocking everything, and you only drag her back." The shadows responded to his taunts, constricting tighter until they cut off her breath. Zoe felt herself stumbling, falling into the abyss of despair. "Join us, or be lost," he hissed, voice dripping with malice. It hit her like a bolt of lightning. Mia wasn't just lost, she was being transformed. As panic surged, a glimmer of resolve sparked inside her. "I won't let you take her!" Zoe shouted, summoning every ounce of willpower she had. "If it's a battle you want, then I'll fight for her." Suddenly, a crackling energy surged through Zoe, igniting her spirit. The shadows recoiled, releasing their grip, startled by her defiance. "Let her go!" The ground trembled as Zoe summoned the strength of her love for Mia, a fierce, blazing light radiating from within her. It shot through the shadows, illuminating the clearing in a fierce blaze. For a fleeting moment, she thought she saw Mia's silhouette in the light, a figure reaching out towards her, face twisted with a mixture of longing and sorrow. Zoe, her voice was barely a whisper, but it cut through the chaos like a knife. As the darkness shrank back, Zoe felt a rush of hope and terror surging through her like wildfire. "Mia, don't listen to him!" she shouted, lungs burning. But from the depths of the shadows, a figure emerged, cloaked in darkness, eyes gleaming with an unknown hunger. "It is too late. You cannot follow her." Zoe stood at the precipice, heart racing, teetering on the brink between hope and despair. Would she lose Mia to the darkness forever, or could she find a way to bridge the chasm that separated them? The flickering shadow twisted in the glow. "Choose wisely, Zoe. Your next move could seal her fate." An avalanche of emotions crashed over her as the world began to spin once more, returning her to the heart of their impending confrontation. What path lay ahead, and would Zoe's courage be enough to fight the darkest shadows of fate? Zoe's breath came in ragged gasps, the heat of her anger battling the chill of fear wrapping around her heart. The dark figure's laughter echoed in her mind, creeping like an unwanted shadow. She felt her resolve hardening, a fiery determination rising from deep within. This wasn't just about Mia anymore. It was about her entire world, her very being. "Mia, please!" she cried, a desperate plea that hung in the air like a fragile thread. "I know you're still in there." The shadows rolled back, as if they were testing her stand. For a heartbeat, Zoe thought she felt a flicker of connection with Mia, but it vanished as the figure surged forward, blocking her vision. "Your friend will embrace her power," he sneered, a tone dripping with condescension. "And you remain a monument to what could have been." Powerless fury surged through her, igniting her spirit again. "No! You're wrong! I know her. She wouldn't just leave me behind." Such naivety. His eyes glinted with malice. "But we shall see, shall we? Face the truth." With a dramatic gesture, the figure unleashed a torrent of shadows that trembled and twisted, exploding towards Zoe like an army poised for battle. With her heart pounding against her ribs, Zoe charged forward, flicking her hands in defiance. She envisioned a barrier of light surrounding her, an unyielding shield fueled by her love for Mia. The shadows lashed against the light like angry waves crashing against a cliff, thrashing and twisting in an agitated dance. "Stay away from her!" Zoe yelled, her voice ringing clear amidst the chaos. The shadows swirled violently, but they yielded. Her fiery aura pushed back, and she felt an unexpected surge of warmth as the connection with Mia reignited. "Mia!" The call rang through the clearing, a beacon of hope. "I'm here!" In that moment, she sensed Mia's essence somewhere beyond the shadows. It flickered like a flame, yearning, but ensnared. Zoe's heart ached. She knew Mia was still out there, still fighting, still herself. She just had to reach her. "Zoe!" A voice surged through the muffled chaos, harsh, and yet filled with unmistakable recognition. It was Mia, her tone etched with both fear and resolve. "I can't hold on much longer. Fight, Mia! Remember who you are, who we are!" Zoe urged, channeling every ounce of love she felt into her words. "Useless!" the figure growled, frustration boiling over. Shadows slithered and lashed out at Zoe's light, but it pulsated defiantly, like a heartbeat, refusing to fade. The air crackled with energy, dark mist colliding with the vibrant light before her. Zoe felt the weight of possibilities hanging in the balance, a precipice that threatened to plunge her into darkness. Suddenly, the ground trembled beneath her feet. An ear-splitting roar erupted, the shadows shrieking in protest as they recoiled. In that fleeting silence, Zoe thought she saw Mia, her silhouette glowing through the strands of darkness, eyes sharp with determination. "I can't breathe," Mia gasped, her spirit flickering. "Zoe, I can feel him pulling me. I don't know how much longer I can fight." "No! You have to! We're stronger together." Zoe's words struck like lightning. "I won't let you go." The figure let out a hollow laugh, growing taller as he absorbed the panic around him. "Who do you think you are, to defy the shadows?" This is not your realm, child. But he wasn't prepared for the fierce bond between them, the stubborn fire of friendship that could light up the darkest paths. I am Zoe, and I will not let you take her. With a primal scream, she summoned every last ounce of light within her. The shadows writhed like they were alive, a furious tempest, ready to drown everything in darkness. Yet Zoe's light flared brighter, pushing against the shadows with a blinding force. Mia! It's time! The next instant, everything exploded in a brilliant flash, illuminating the entire clearing. Time seemed to stretch as warmth spread through the shadows that had once held her captive. Zoe felt a weight lift, yet a strange emptiness lingered. But then she realized it wasn't the end, it was the beginning. Mia! Eh? Silence fell over the battlefield. The shadows settled, and her heart raced as she stood on the edge of revelation, trembling with anticipation. Were they ready to face whatever lay ahead? Zoe choked back a breath, the pulse of uncertainty clamoring in her chest. What would happen next, and would the shadows claim Mia, or was this fight far from over? The blinding flash faded, leaving behind a shroud of dust that hung in the air like forgotten whispers. Zoe squinted, trying to make sense of the disarray, her heart thundering like a drum against her ribcage. The oppressive haze wrapped around her, a reminder of the lingering shadows that still threatened to swallow her whole. Mia! Zoe called again, her voice echoing back to her, swallowed by the uncertainty. Desperation clawed at her. That flicker of light, that brief moment when she glimpsed Mia, couldn't be all there was. As the remnants of darkness retreated, Zoe felt a sting of loss. Where was her friend? An uneasy stillness descended, an ominous quiet that made the hairs on the back of her neck stand up. With trembling hands she reached out, grounding herself in the reality of their bond. Suddenly, the air warped again, twisting like a living entity, and from the shadows emerged the figure. His presence loomed larger than life, eyes glinting, satisfaction dancing along his lips. "Foolish girl," he taunted, his voice slithering through the space between them. "You think you can save her? You're tangled in a web you can't comprehend." Zoe's heart raced, but a defiance bubbled up inside her. "You don't know anything about us. Mia is stronger than you think." The figure chuckled, a sound laced with malice. "Stronger? Or simply more naive? The shadows don't just feed on darkness, they crave despair. And your friend?" He leaned closer, his breath chilling. "She's dancing on the edge, ready to embrace a power far beyond your understanding." "No!" Zoe's voice cracked, but she pushed through, her resolve hardening. "You won't take her from me." Before she could react, the figure raised a hand, and the shadows surged forward. They writhed, slick tendrils piercing through the remaining light, reaching for Zoe with a vengeance. Her heart raced, pounding like a war drum as she stomped her feet on the ground, feeling where she stood and channeling every ounce of energy from the earth beneath her. "Get back!" She thrust her arms, summoning the barrier again, but the shadows crashed against her light, forcing her back with the weight of despair. Panic clawed at her throat as she felt the ground shake beneath her, unstable just like her grasp on Mia. "Mia!" she shouted again, her voice crackling with urgency. "Fight it! Remember us!" A faint shimmer pulsed within the shadows, and in that heart-stopping moment, Zoe saw the outline of Mia, struggling amidst the darkness. "Zoe!" Mia's voice was faint but fierce, a flicker of hope lighting her eyes. "Help me!" Zoe's chest tightened, a swell of emotions threatening to drown her reason. "I'm here! Remember our dreams? All the times we celebrated, laughed. You're stronger than this. Mia, you are my best friend. Don't let him win." The figure's laughter echoed around her, a twisted melody. Pathetic sentiment. Feelings are for the weak. They want to save her from this fate. Zoe inhaled sharply, determination hardening in her core. "No! Love is our greatest strength. I want to let you take her." With a surge of energy, she poured everything she had into the light pouring from her hands. Suddenly, the shadows recoiled, and Zoe felt a shift. The darkness hesitated. Time slowed, the air crackling with potential. For the first time, it felt like she was standing on equal ground. Mia, now! Zoe screamed, sending every thought of hope and affection into the void. Take my hand! Fight back together! As if the words had sparked a fire in her core, Mia emerged from the grasp of shadows. Her silhouette shimmered like a star piercing the night, and Zoe felt a gravitational pull, a connection that bound them closer than ever. But as Mia stepped forward, the figure's expression twisted into rage. The shadows surged back, hungry and wild, wrapping around Mia with furious intent. Mia! In that moment of terror, Zoe's heart sank. Could they truly fight together against such overwhelming darkness? As the shadows closed in, Zoe's pulse quickened. The true battle was about to unfold, and the outcome held more weight than she could have ever imagined. Would this spark of connection be enough to turn the tide? Was there a chance she could reach Mia's heart before the shadows extinguished their light for good? The answer loomed, and it teetered just out of reach, hanging precariously on the edge of desperation. Mia's figure flickered like a candle in a gusty wind, the shadows gnashing at her with sharpened fangs, desperate to drag her back into the abyss. Zoe felt every beat of her heart echo in the fractured silence, amplified by the fear thrumming through her veins. No! You're stronger than this! Zoe shouted, forcing every ounce of her conviction into her voice. The figure's laughter grew louder, a bone-chilling sound that reverberated within the walls of her mind. He stepped closer, shadows swirling around him in an unsettling dance. Shout all you want, little girl. But once she embraces the darkness, there will be no turning back. The despair clawed at Zoe's resolve. The horrors of the world beyond this moment tore at her thoughts. Lost moments, laughter shared, times when they had been invincible. Zoe focused, her pulse racing, pushing out the anxiety choking her. Mia! Zoe pleaded again, willing her friend to fight against the darkness. You're not alone. Remember who you are. We've faced everything together. The shadows writhed, caught in a muted struggle, and for just a brief heartbeat, Zoe saw clarity flicker in Mia's eyes. It was as if a light blazed behind them, and Zoe couldn't help but sift through the weight of sadness pressing down on them both. Zoe! Mia's voice was hoarse but steady, weaving through the darkness. I can feel you. It's so hard. Just hold on. Visualize our memories, the good ones. Let them shield you. Zoe closed her eyes tightly, channeling the warmth of their bond, the laughter they had shared, the moments that defined their friendship. The shadows recoiled slightly, confusion rippling through them. Zoe seized the moment, casting her hands wide, light bursting forth like sunbeams piercing a storm. Begin with the laughter, Mia. Laugh as if we're at the lake again, splashing each other. A faint chuckle escaped Mia's lips, and the sound buoyed Zoe's spirit. The darkness hesitated as if caught in a pull of opposing forces. That day was perfect. Mia gasped, the light starting to envelop her. Impossibly, a cascade of golden sparks began to break through the shadows, flickering with every heartbeat. Then the figure roared in anger, You dared defy me? Tendrils of shadow lunged at Mia, desperate to choke out that newfound light. Mia! Zoe shouted, pouring everything she had into the light. Fight with me! Mia's silhouette glowed brighter, a beacon of hope amid the gloom. Zoe! I won't let him take me. For every surge of darkness aiming to siphon her energy, the light radiating from their connection pushed back, igniting a small war on the edge of despair. But the figure, his face twisted with rage, grew more powerful too, shadows swirling like a tempest around him. You think this bond can save you? You're both fools. Zoe gasped as he lunged, gathering shadows like a storm, intent on crushing their efforts. Time felt elastic, tightening around them as Mia staggered, struggling to hold on to both light and darkness. Then, just as Zoe felt hope beginning to slip away, a shattering sound resonated through the air, creating cracks in the darkness. No! The figure bellowed, his expression morphing from triumph to terror. What is happening? The shadows exploded into wisps, and for a brief moment, Zoe held her breath. Was this the end, or merely the calm before raging winds? In that instant, Mia's eyes flashed with fierce determination. Mia, we've got to do this together, Zoe urged, their palms nearly touching, the barrier of light flickering between them. As they leaned into their shared energy, a pulse of brilliance surged outward in a blinding wave, illuminating all the shadow's dark corners. Together, they cried out in unison, but something deep in Zoe's gut twisted. The shadows weren't just retreating. They were awakening a greater force, the true depth of darkness that had been lurking all along, waiting for this very moment. What awaited them as they faced this chaos? Would standing together truly be enough, or were they merely opening a gate to something worse? The next heartbeat surged with dread and adrenaline as they braced themselves. The true horror had only just begun. Zoe felt the energy swirling around her, vibrant and pure, as she gripped Mia's hand tighter. The shadows retreated momentarily, but Zoe's heart raced, knowing this battle wasn't over. The figure's presence loomed larger now, infused with the raw fury of darkness licking at the edges of their shared light. "You've done well to come this far," the figure sneered, his hollow eyes flashing with malice. "But do you think your friendship can truly overthrow the very essence of despair?" Zoe exchanged a fleeting look with Mia, sensing the weight of their bond igniting a flicker of hope, but it wasn't enough. "Not yet. We're not afraid of you," Zoe shouted, her voice ringing with a newfound strength. She felt Mia's warmth flow through her, fortifying her resolve against the swirling shadows. "Fear is a friend you don't recognize, little girl," the figure hissed. With a swift movement, he unleashed a torrent of darkness aimed directly at them. The shadows swelled like a tidal wave, filling the clearing. Zoe's heart pounded as the ground shook beneath her. "Mia!" Zoe cried out, bracing against the overwhelming force. They had to focus. They had to harness the light within. Together. "Remember our memories, Zoe!" Mia shouted, her voice strong despite the encroaching darkness. "Focus on the laughter, the joy." In that moment, Zoe felt a surge of their shared memories flood her mind. Laughter at the lake, late-night talks wrapped in blankets, the trust they had forged over countless adventures. Each flicker of memory sent a pulse of warm light racing through her, growing brighter and brighter until it became a radiant beacon that shattered the surrounding gloom. "Now!" Zoe shouted, pouring every ounce of their shared joy into the light. With a burst of brilliance, their combined energy surged outward, wrapping around the shadows in a blinding halo. The figure, eyes wide with disbelief, stumbled backward. "No! You can't, you're not strong enough," he hissed, desperation creeping into his tone as the shadows shrieked and twisted, shriveling back from the light showering down upon them. But Zoe wasn't backing down. "We are enough. Together, we are unstoppable." As they pushed forward, the shadows began to unravel, slowly giving way to brilliant rays of light cascading into the clearing. Zoe could feel Mia's presence beside her, no longer a flickering silhouette, but a powerful force ready to reclaim her own destiny. "Mia!" Zoe yelled, their hands synchronized. "Fight through it! This is our moment!" With renewed courage, they launched their glowing energy towards the figure, illuminating the entire clearing. "You are finished!" they shouted in unison. The darkness convulsed, letting out a howl that echoed throughout the woods, an anguished cry of defeat that rippled through the trees around them. "No! This can't be!" the figure bellowed, rage boiling over as the shadows burned away, swallowed by the light they had forged. The clearing blossomed into vivid colors, the moon illuminating the remnants of terror around them until nothing remained but the echoes of their defiance. And then, silence washed over them. A calm descended as the last shadows faded away into the night. Zoe held her breath, heart pounding, waiting for the moment to unravel. Would Mia return? Was it truly over? The air shimmered before her, and from the fading glow emerged Mia, her expression radiant and fierce, eyes filled with clarity and purpose. "Zoe, I'm here," Mia breathed heavily, tears shimmering in her eyes as she stepped forward, the glow surrounding them both. Relief flooded through Zoe, breaking through any remnants of fear still lingering in her heart. "Oh my God, Mia!" Zoe exclaimed, wrapping her arms around her friend, holding tight as if she would melt into the light. "I thought I know. Mia choked, voice cracking. I know we faced darkness, but together we lit the way. They stood in the clearing, the remnants of shadows dispersing into the night, whispering their final farewells, leaving the air heavy with power and promise. Heartbeats synchronized, they smiled, warmth filling the space around them, igniting the darkness that threatened to seep back in. This was a nightmare, Zoe said, taking a deep breath and pulling back to look Mia in the eye. But we survived. Because we have each other. We're unstoppable. Mia nodded, her usual spark returning. And I will never let anything rattle that bond again. We built this together. It's sacred. As they stepped away from the dark remnants of the clearing and into the cool night air, Zoe glanced back one last time, a sense of healing washing over her. Let's South leave this place behind, Zoe whispered, taking Mia's hand once more. Together, Mia replied, a fierce smile lighting her face. The two friends walked away, stepping into a new dawn, the moon lingering behind, holding the remnants of their victory close to its heart. And as the first rays of sunlight broke over the horizon, illuminating the path ahead, Zoe and Mia knew that whatever lay ahead, they would face it together, bound by unwavering friendship and the strength they trusted in each other. Now, the silence and shadows of Millfield stood only as reminders of their triumph over fear, leaving the door open for a new chapter. As they headed back home, Zoe's heart swelled. This wasn't just a story of survival. It was a story of resilience. And you know what? You need to subscribe now, so you don't miss out on the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and show your love. Let us hear your reactions and theories about this epic conclusion in the comments. What did you think happened back there? And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends. They need to see how this battle unfolded. The journey isn't over, it's just begun.